Hello my friends, this is Rick Lax and I'm making this video to go over 3 of the marked decks that we carry here at Penguin Magic. We are going to go through the pros, we are going to go through the cons, and let's begin with the ultimate marked deck. Here it is called the ultimate marked deck because it really is exactly what every magician wants in a marked deck of cards. It looks exactly like a deck of regular bicycle cards and the markings are very clear. There is no hard interpretation to do. So here's one card, and at first glance you can see the back of the card is totally normal, looks just like a regular bicycle deck. But the closer you look at the back of the cards, you will begin to see the marking on it. And you can see there's nothing to interpret. You just look and it's got the number right there, and it's got the suit right below it. It is virtually imperceptible if you don't know what you are looking for. This deck has all upsides. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing is because the markings are so well hidden, there might be a limitation for you if you have poor eyesight, because you need good eyesight to see these cards. These are great if you are performing for really skeptical people, for other magicians, for card players, someone who knows exactly what a deck of cards looks like, and someone who might be on the look for marked cards, because these markings, unless you know exactly where to look and what you're looking for, these markings are super hard to find. Next up is Theory 11's Code Deck. These are the marked cards that I have been performing with for the past year or so. Now we're going to go over some of the advantages and disadvantages as they compare to the ultimate marked deck. So we begin with the backs of the cards. This is the regular bicycle rider back or angel back cards, and this is the mandolin back. You can see they are very similar. Now, if you're a magician or a professional poker player, you might be able to tell the difference in the backs of these two cards, but I tell you, I've been performing with the Code deck for over a year, and I've yet to have a layman look at the backs of those and say, well, those aren't the normal bicycle cards. You're only going to notice that if you are a magician. Now, here's a couple of nice things about the Code deck. It comes in a very particular order. It might look like a random order to you, but if you're a card expert, you will know that this is actually mnemonica order, which lets you do all sorts of memorized deck stuff, and it comes in this order. And the order of the cards is very particular for the Code deck because the markings aren't just for the particular cards. The markings will also tell you the card above the selected card. In other words, if someone cuts here, I can look at that card and know what this card is. So I can say, go ahead, pick up cards, look at it, and I'm turning around. You can look at those cards and I'll know you have the 5 of clubs because I looked at the back of the card next to it. So it's got 2 different cards marked. There's also a third marking that tells you how many cards are above the card that you cut to. So if you cut right here, I would know there's 28 cards here because there's a little 28 on this card here. So these are all advantages of the Code deck. Now, there's another thing which might be an advantage or a disadvantage to you. You can see if you look at the backs of the cards, the markings are bigger than they are on the ultimate marked deck. They're in the same place, they're in the upper left, but you can see they're considerably bigger. Now, I have not had someone notice these markings on me yet. I've had someone in all the year that I've been performing with them, I've had someone ask if they're a marked deck, and I just told them no. And then I did another trick, but I've never had someone find them. But that said, if you are new to performing with marked decks and you're not doing good magic, then you might convey that it's a marked deck, and the markings are easier to see. But again, those easy markings can be a positive or a negative. If you have poor vision, or if you need to be able to see the cards from farther away, the Code deck is a better choice. If you have good vision and you want a deck that looks just like a regular bicycle deck, then the ultimate marked deck would be the better choice. So it just depends on your preferences. Last up, we have the DMC. Companies like Theory 11 and Illusionist. They've been printing a lot of high-end, nice-looking cards in nice boxes with glossy typeface. And you can see this is a marked deck that looks like one of those high-end specialized decks. So it's got a nice box, and then here are the cards. And these cards are substantially different from the code deck and from the ultimate marked deck in a couple of ways. First of all, you can see this is not anything like a bicycle deck. This is a unique design. And if you look at the card, there's nothing really to hide on it. There's no small markings that you're looking for. The markings are essentially hidden in plain sight. They are very big. You can see them from far away if you know what you're looking for. Again, the marks are in the upper left corner of the card, and if you know what you're looking for, they are very easy to see and very easy to read. But if you don't know what you're looking for, then it's just going to look like a high-end stylized deck of cards. So what I like about them is they would be great for a classy performer who has just unique items, unique deck of cards. Something that I'm not a giant fan of is there's two cards here that do not look, but most of the face cards, they all look normal, I'd say, the way that they would in a regular bicycle deck. But there are two cards here that have specialty designs, which is the trend with a lot of cards. But you can see the King of Hearts and the King of Diamonds, they look a little different. But that's okay, because these aren't cards that are trying to pass as a bicycle deck. These are highly stylized cards. So if you need to see the marks from very far away, or if you're nervous about people seeing particular spots, then the DMC deck might be for you. Let me end by answering one question that a lot of people have about marked cards. They want to know, what tricks should you do with a marked deck of cards? And my answer to that question is, I always perform with a marked deck whenever I can, but I don't do any tricks with marked cards. So what the hell does that mean, and why am I doing it? I like having a marked deck of cards as a backup. So many things can go wrong when you're performing Magic, when you're doing different tricks, and a marked deck just puts you one step ahead of the game. So if I have someone pick a card, if I'm trying to force a card, I can see whether I hit it or not. If I have a jerk spectator who grabs a card and says, "What card do I have right now?" I can tell him what card he has right then. If I'm doing a trick where I'm cutting to the 4 aces and then I want to dramatically turn them over, if I have a marked deck, I'm going to know if I messed up beforehand if I didn't get the ace, and then I'll be able to switch it and pull the ace out. So whatever tricks you already do, a marked deck will fit in nicely for them. You don't have to do separate tricks with a marked deck. They're just a guarantee that all the magic you already do with cards will be stronger.